Hello, Spartans. So, it's done. Not how any of us would have scripted it, but we did some amazing things together. It seems like a completely different time than the fall when the girls won the state golf title and the Spartan Alliance headed to Lucas Oil. And we had an incredible football season, a great semi-formal dance. Our orchestra played at a nationally recognized event. We had 7th semester graduation, DECA competitions, and then not. And on March 14th, our gymnasts headed to state without fans in the last sanctioned IHSAA event of the year. Here's what I know. We are incredibly proud of you and so very fortunate to have experienced everything that the spring has brought to us as a school. We didn't sign up for the changes, the e-learning days, the loss of games, practices, competitions, performances, and the like. But you being able to work through the difficulties and find joy in it all is a big victory. We'll be better for it. We don't yet realize how we will be better, but I am convinced that as we reflect and learn, great things are ahead. Thank you to all of the students and families who have already responded to our survey. The responses are humbling and carefully crafted. Over 500 responses as of Saturday night. The same for student responses. 345 students have responded so far. Please, students, check your SACS email account to provide your feedback. To date, your responses have been thoughtful, caring, kind, and helpful. Thank you to all of you and to all of our students. As with the last video message of 3 weeks ago, there's a lot of end-of-the-year information here, so you might want to watch more than once or take notes. Senior information is scattered throughout today's message, so please stay tuned until the end. Students who didn't make it to Homestead last week to return textbooks and retrieve items from your lockers can bring books to door number 1 any day this week from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. to avoid being billed for textbooks or library books. All returning students, grades 9 through 11, will keep their computers until registration in July, at which time you will receive your new laptop. Senior laptop returns and diploma pickup will be on June 15 and 16 from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. in the auxiliary gym. Students will park in the student lot and enter the building at door 8, which is in the west side of the aux gym. Seniors will return their laptop and power cord and receive their diploma, graduation tickets, honor cords, and other graduation-related items. You must turn in your laptop on June 15th or 16th to receive your diploma on those days. Underclassmen. Summer school begins Wednesday, June 3rd. Most of you have been contacted by email several times over the most recent days, but check your email again today and Tuesday for details. Students who are signed up for dual credit courses for the coming school year will receive an email this summer with instructions on how to enroll at the university or college offering the dual credit. This communication should be headed your way in June. Students who are signed up for or wish to register for the SAT or ACT should seek information on the appropriate websites. As in March, we intend to continue to offer our exams on our site, however, other places may not. Students in the Spartan Alliance, band camp, percussion, and color guard auditions are tentatively scheduled to begin on July 20th. Anyone with questions should contact Mr. Warfield via email throughout the summer. At this time, there's no solid information we can provide concerning how our coming school year will be configured. Decisions on how and when to reopen schools will be made in collaboration with state and county officials. A great deal of thought and conversation has already begun at SACS concerning options and approaches that might serve us well. No decisions have been made at this time. Governor Holcomb is expected to release statewide guidance on school reopenings around July 4th at the earliest. Seniors, it looks like we have things lined up well for graduation on July 8th and 9th. We currently have in the neighborhood of 540 students registered to walk at commencement. I know the due date we established has passed, but we want all of you to be a part. If you have not yet registered to walk at graduation, you need to do so this week so we can finalize plans during the second week of June. If you can't find the original email sent to you, shoot me an email and I will send you the link. Students must register using your SACS email account and parents can't register for you. Tickets will be limited to parents and guardians only. Parents must present tickets to park or enter the stadium. Requests for tickets that include extended family, friends, or siblings will be denied. Tickets will be given to you in your diploma packets on June 15th and 16th. Seniors, I want to thank you for being a great group of people. and part of that is being solid students. You have much to reflect on with each other about the great things you've experienced during this stage of your life. It's my experience that high school is not the best part of your life, and that there are so many cool things going to happen to you in just the next 3 to 5 years that high school won't even hold a candle to. In my final comments, I want to reference 2 different books, and because of that, much of what I'm about to share, I'll read to you. My ideas today come from The End of Average by Todd Rose and a book by Frank Bruni called Where You Go Is Not Who You'll Be. You've been lied to, not intentionally, but I think society lumps all of us into a cauldron and then expects us to sort it out and give out ribbons for the best and then kicks others to the side. But that's not the message we understand as individuals. I think each of us understands that everyone has talents and interests that vary, and that at no one time in your life are you ever good at everything all at once. Todd Rose talks about this as he points out that none of us is really average, that at any one time, some things you and I are doing are really outstanding. You're not just an average. The lie is also addressed by Bruni in his book, Where You Go Is Not Who You'll Be. Some of you got into the college of your choice, or the place of employment you dreamed of, or the military opportunity you hoped for. And I'm here to tell you, congratulations, great stuff. But for all of the rest of us who are going to school in places that weren't our first choice, or maybe even our second choice, or you haven't found that career-building job yet, or you enlisted in the military, but the specialty you desired wasn't available, so what? Here's an example of why I say that, taken from Bruni's book. All should hear and heed the stories of Peter Hart. Peter didn't try for the Ivy League. That wasn't the kind of student he'd been at New Trier High School in an affluent Chicago suburb. Most of its graduating seniors go on to higher education, and most know from where they stand among their peers what sort of college they can hope to attend. A friend of Peter's was ranked near the summit of their class. She set her sights on Yale and ended up there. Peter was ranked in the top third and aimed for the University of Michigan, or maybe the special undergraduate business school at the University of Illinois. Both rejected him. He went to another university instead. And right away, he noticed a difference. At New Trier, a public school posh enough to pass for private, he'd always had a sense of himself as somewhat ordinary, at least in terms of his studies. At his fallback school, though, the students in his freshman classes weren't as showily gifted as the New Trier kids had been, and his self-image went through a transformation. I really felt like I was a competent person, he told Bruni, and he thrived. He got into an honors program for undergraduate business majors. He became vice president of a business fraternity on campus. He cobbled together the capital to start a tiny real estate enterprise that fixed up and rented small houses to fellow students. And he finagled away off campus to interview with several of the top drawer consulting firms that trialed for recruits at the Ivies but often bypassed schools like the one Peter went to. Upon graduation, he took a plum job in the Chicago office of the Boston Consulting Group, where he recognized one of the other new hires, the friend from New Trier who'd gone to Yale. Traveling a more gilded path, she arrived at the same destination. He later decided to get a master's degree in business administration, and that's where he is today, in graduate school at Harvard. Life is an interesting story that you get to write about yourself. Don't let others write it for you. Colleges and businesses, and even the military, will look at what we think our average is and then try to compare us, ignoring everything important about what makes you, you. Todd Rose says that deciding who is good at what or who can do this or that by looking at averages and numbers forces our thinking into incredibly limited patterns, patterns that we are largely unaware of because the opinions we arrive at seem to be so self-evident and rational. We live in a world that demands that we measure ourselves against a horde of averages and supplies us with no end of justification for doing so. We should compare our salary to the average salary to judge our professional success. We should compare our GPA to the average GPA to judge our academic success. We should compare our own age to the age that people get married to judge whether we are married too late or too early. But once you free yourself from what Rose calls averageinarian thinking, what previously seemed impossible will start to become intuitive and then obvious. A study completed at Columbia University across several years showed that having an ability or skill in one area had no correlation to other skills. Rose says mental abilities are decidedly jagged, often unrelated one to the other, and come and go over time. Over the years, Google has found that the prestige the school one goes to, or their GPA, is not predictive at all about the talents they need in their employees. The world seems to think that if someone is great in one thing, then they'll be great in all things. Heck, the world would tell us that if someone's good looking, then they must be a better person. You can't be reduced to a single cut score. It isn't right, and it isn't true. Using group norms to evaluate individuals is only valid if we are frozen clones, identical and unchanging. When you were done with your last class at Homestead, you completed one of the most rigorous high school educations available anywhere. You've heard me say this before, but I'll say it again. Don't compare yourself. Don't compare your class rank to anyone in your school or to any other person. Your class rank is totally irrelevant and is not a predictor of your future success. True story. I know a guy who was a pretty average student, not in the top 10, 20, or even the top 30% of his high school class. This student was denied a college scholarship based on need because his guidance counselor didn't think he was a college material. The same student had a tumultuous relationship with a high school teacher during his senior year, failed the spring quarter class, and that teacher told him he'd never graduate from college. I know him pretty well because that person is me. When confronted by comments that hurt or situations that sting, it's imperative that we use tough times as ammunition and motivation to change the narrative and to be everything we can be. And remember this, life isn't a race. Getting there first doesn't make you a winner. Getting there on time does. Lastly, you guys stand at an incredible crossroad in the history of our country. You can be the generation that changes the way we look at race in this country, and you can heal many relationships. But it's going to take all of you to reach across the divide and try to understand each other. My generation still hasn't figured this out, but yours can. I know many of you consider yourself activists or are active in clubs and organizations that do good work. However, what we need now are people that will do the right thing, the tough thing, when no one's watching and when it's imperative to be strong and courageous, and in the face of hate and harsh words, be different than the past. We'll see you at graduation as graduates. I'm sorry it had to be delayed and isn't shaped the way we would have liked it. But quite honestly, I couldn't be more happy to know we get to see you in July. Peace to you all, and go Spartans.